Elise and Jimmy Chin's The Rescue is set to release on the 29th of October. Luckily enough, I've managed to watch the preview of this last night and I really wanted to review it because, oh my gosh, this film documentary is going to put you at the edge of your seat. When you first watch this film, the build-up of the story is absolutely well done. We have the layering of each person involved, how did they get to be there, what's actually happening. And this also includes bits of the story that have never been heard before, because a lot of this story was kept under wraps. And the most amazing thing about this documentary is that the cave divers themselves have managed to have been sat down and had a clear voice, opinion, and their own side of the story told. And I think that was a really lovely and magical touch because we get some insightful and beautiful opinions of the cave divers, of what was really happening at that time. Now, because of this wonderful layering, we also have this build-up of what's happening inside versus outside the cave. So we have not only the rescuers, we've got the Thai boys and the Navy SEALs, we have the American Army coming in, we have all these other players in the team, and each one of their stories gets a telling. We get to understand what's happening. But this would have been really confusing to put together, but it's managed to have been done so effortlessly that you get this wonderful layering piece by piece. The whole story is incredibly comprehensible and easy to understand. The actual story is built up from news segments at the time, real footage from the time that it was happening, but we also have this recreational scenes where we actually have the proper cave divers who rescued the boys going back to the cave, and what they did is recreate some of the scenes that they would have actually done at the time. Now, because of this beautiful footage that we have throughout the film, it's so effortlessly working well. You don't even realize, oh wait, this has actually been recreated for this film. This scene didn't actually happen. They didn't take cameras down there at the time, etc. So what we have is this collage of stories coming together, building up this one big picture that the audience is then allowed to make their own decisions and their own opinions on. However, because of this, it is incredibly emotional. It will put you at the edge of your seat throughout, and I felt incredibly tense throughout this film, and the only layback you get is when they bring back the story, they reel it back a bit. So you might have some incredible parts of tension throughout the story when something havocing is happening. Havocing, is that a word? Something will reap havoc throughout the rescue situation, and for instance, more water comes into the cave and you think, how can we possibly do this? Many things that wreak havoc throughout the situation of the rescue are then put on hold as we get the release of tension. What the documentary has done is it's reeled itself back, and then it looks at the stories of the people involved, such as the cave divers, which was a really emotional soft spot for me to see these cave divers' backgrounds, where they came from, their history, why they go caving, why they go cave diving specifically, and what they do. This made a break for the tension. You could just see the glimpses of these people's lives away from the rescue and understand their state of minds a lot more. And it became incredibly vulnerable and open as a film, which, yes, it took a break from the tension, but it got you more connected to the story. Now, I'm not a cave diver and I don't know much about cave diving, but from what I've seen, it's very correct and very in-depth in detail. And you get this when the interviewees, the cave dive rescuers, actually talk about how some of their equipment is makeshift. They've made it at home because the sport is so niche that you can't go out and buy your own cave dive equipment, especially for the job, but they had to design their own things at home. Another way the directors eased out of that tension was to actually look at a little bit of the Thai culture and the emotions that were happening at the time with the mothers of the Thai boys and all of the characters, the people involved. As I'm making a movie review, I should be critiquing this film in some way, but I really can't find a spot to particularly critique it in. It was done so well and so much forethought put into it that it's just a fantastic film, and especially emotionally, it will grip you. When I walked into the cinema, I really had high hopes, and all of these hopes were met. The one thing that I really wanted the film to show was how much of an intense situation this must have been. Now, a lot was kept under wraps at that time when it happened in 2018, and I heard a lot of people say to me, it's not that bad, the media hype everything up. Oh, it was that bad. It was much worse, okay? But the film does this so well. Because of the layering of the story, you actually understand how intense this situation was. This event, in my head, in my mind, was the equivalent of the moon landing. This was such a success that we need to be celebrating a lot more. And finally, when the world sits down and watches this film, they can really understand the gravity of the situation all of the rescuers were in. That is actually all I have for today, but as a final point, I want to say how proud I am. I was welling up in the cinema. I was so proud of everyone involved and the rescuers, the cave divers. And if you feel at all obliged, you don't have to, but if you feel at all obliged, you can donate to your local cave rescue. I've put some links below of my local cave rescue in Derbyshire, and I want to say that every cave rescue team member is an absolute star, and I'm so proud of everyone and anyone involved in that particular rescue, but also of my cave rescue here back at home. So that's all I have for today. If you want me to make more videos like this, then please do give a comment down below. You can tell me how you thought the film went when you watched it, and I really hope that you guys do go out and watch it because it's bloody brilliant. And I will see you next time.